Hey YouTube, we're about to make some wine. We're going to be using some basic ingredients. We're going to use 3 cups of sugar, 96 ounces of 100% pure grape juice with no preservatives, absorbic acid, vitamin C, that's okay. And also we're going to be using active dry yeast. We're going to use 1 whole packet of that. Before you start though, you should sterilize everything you're going to use using these Camden tablets. I usually crush one of these and mix it with a gallon of water and wash everything. So I assume that you already did that. So this is some wine that I have in the works at the moment. I ran out of bottles, otherwise I would be bottling this one already. So what we're going to do, the first thing is we're going to put our sugar into the bottle. Let's hope I can hit the hole. Now, if I wasn't such a cheap bastard, I would have a real funnel. But I'm cheap, and this wine will be pretty cheap as well. Okay, so I got 3 cups, almost 3 cups. There's a little on the table here of sugar. That's just regular old Domino's sugar. Now what I'm going to do, is because I want this to dissolve easily, I'm going to add 2 cups of hot water. Have this going ahead of time. That's really hot water. So what I do now is I shake this up. Get that nice and partially dissolved at least. After that, I'm simply going to add about half of this. But I have trouble pouring it in here without a funnel. Like I mentioned before, I'm cheap. So if you're a lean manufacturing person, you're not going to be happy with all this double handling that I have going on here. Now you can use any type of juice, fruit juice. Just make sure, like I said, that it has 100% juice. You can use mixed. I've used apple, I've used cranberry, but my favorite seems to be grape. I also like to use the concentrate, the frozen concentrate. Maybe I'll make some of that. You know where I learned to do this? I know there's a lot of YouTube videos and things like that, but before YouTube, I used to work as a contractor, not an inmate, inside a federal prison. And the inmates, one time, had this inmate that was acting a little goofy. And so I went and tried to find out what was going on with this dude, and he was totally fucked up. I mean, this dude was drunk as hell. And this is inside a prison. There's really no way for him to get drunk. At least you would think there wouldn't be. As it turns out, after speaking to him in my office and then later on, just in casual conversation, he told me how they used to make it. And they would make it in small batches, even just the size of a 2-liter bottle, I mean a half-liter bottle. They would get grape juice and a little bit of yeast and a little couple packets of sugar, and they would make it 1 small batch at a time. It was kind of interesting. So Now, of course, in prison they didn't have air bubblers, air locks or things like that, so they basically just used their cap. I happen to have a airlock. They're pretty cheap. If you're going to undertake this type of thing, eBay, I bought 6 of these for like $4.99 free shipping. And the caps were like another $2 for like a dozen of them. So if you're going to do this as for fun or for a hobby or just because you're a drunken fool, I would suggest getting a few airlocks. But if you don't have access to any, that's not a problem. Now what I'm doing now is I'm adding a packet of yeast. This is Red Star Active Dry Yeast. You can use fancy smanchy champagne yeast and stuff like that, and all that stuff works great. Why I waited till now to add the yeast is because if you add it while it's too hot, give it a shake, it will kill the yeast. If I added it with that hot water and the sugar, that would have been all she wrote. So now I'm going to add the rest of the juice. I should be able to pour it now. When it's full is when it's a problem. Now you could make this right inside this jug that this juice came in, if you like. Now I'm going to add a little bit more water to this. Just a little. Oops. Alright. Now that might be a little too much, but that's alright. So I'm going to give it another shake. And the jug doesn't feel very warm, so I'm not concerned about the yeast dying on me. Okay, so now we're done. All you have to do now is you take your lid and put it on, not finger tight, just a little bit tight, and you can leave it like that, and that could be your airlock. You could be done now. You just set it in a cool, dark place for a while. Check on it the next day to make sure it's working. I'll take a video of that as that happens. But basically, you're done. But in my case, I happen to have a real nice air bubbler, and so I'm going to put that on. And now all we have to do is wait. This is really just a 5-minute operation as far as this part, getting it into the 1-gallon jug. And you can mix and match. You can use more or less sugar. You can check the alcohol content and see basically with a hydrometer how much potential alcohol you could get in this wine. And then when you're done, you take another reading and you subtract that from your original reading, and for the most part that is the amount of alcohol that you have, the percent. So for now, I'm going to clean this mess up, and the next video will be us racking this and bottling it. I basically just, if you're going to undertake this little operation, friends and family are a good source for wine bottles. This one is one I made last week. This is also grape, but it was a different, cheaper brand of juice, and I tried it, and it's really sweet, and it's really good. And it came out to about 12% alcohol, which works on me. I don't know about you. But I simply put my initials, and then each batch I write down and keep notes of, so you can tell how it tastes. And if it tastes good, you can redo it the same thing with the same ingredients. But you won't know if you just half-ass it and just have a bunch of stuff laying around. Like all these, I have notes for all these. This is apple. And this is actually mixed fruit made with grapes, blueberries, strawberries. It just happened to be fruit that I came across. And it's kind of an experiment, but these two are actual made with fresh fruit. These are concentrate, but they all get me drunk. And the wife too. And friends and family, nobody has died or anything like that. So I'd say it's pretty good. Look for part 2 where we bottle this stuff. Thanks, YouTube.